G'day YouTube, I'm Necroarcanist XIII in association with Bandit 1569, bringing my first top list. Top 15 video game boss battles. Now many of you who watch lists such as these would know the drill. Put items in the list of order the best to all time awesome favourite. But I'm going to shake stuff up a little bit and make it a bit more original. Cause I'm an obsessive compulsive, I'm going to list every list item in alphabetical order. And despite the number of items in the top list, this time 15, I'm going to add at least one honourable mention that didn't make the cut. Again, multiple honourable mentions will be placed in alphabetical order. Disclaimer, gameplay videos are not of my own gameplay and I give full credit to the original uploaders of the videos I used to make this. Also, mature content ahead, you will be warned if a topic involves something not for younger viewers, and you will be given a time to skip ahead to should that part arise. Also, general rule, one game per franchise. Ties of bosses from the same game or franchise can occur. If a certain boss has several tiers or battles that occur one at a time, it can count as a single entry. Finally, possible spoiler alert for games you haven't played. Now let's get kicking. The top 15 video game boss battles. First up, my honourable mention is the Scourge of Rock from Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock. In Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock, the Beast attacks the demigod of rock when he becomes immortal to perfect his sound. After defeating him in battle, he imprisons him in granite and casts his legendary guitar away. Gene Simmons from the legendary band Kiss narrates the tales of 8 musicians, the playable characters of the game, and how they each transcend into demigods themselves. After all 8 warriors gather and collect the legendary guitar, they face the Beast and use the power of rock to play 2 Megadeth songs, Holy Wars, The Punishment Due, and This Day We Fight, in order to weaken the Beast. After that, the demigod manages to break free of his prison and claims his guitar. Then, the final battle begins. The theme being Sudden Death, another Megadeth song, and the 8 warriors empower the demigod with their music while he battles the Beast. Once the song ends, the demigod slays the Scourge of Rock, but not once and for all. After beating story mode, you unlock the demigod as a character, as well as his own playlist in story mode Domination, a kind of new game plus that revolves around earning 40 stars on every song to prove your legendary skills of button mashing. The demigod stage is the Scourge of Rock itself, with the band playing on top of the Beast's head as it marches through the surrounding lands. While there isn't much special about this boss battle, it's a real challenge on tough difficulties and the music really sets the mood. And Sudden Death is the perfect song for many final boss battles. I mean, try listening to it while playing Dark Souls or Devil May Cry. Now, onto the main list. As stated, this list shall be presented in alphabetical order. Abaddon from Darksiders. After being involved in a grand conspiracy that ultimately brought the annihilation of mankind, Abaddon was slain and afterwards forced to become the Destroyer, taking control of Earth. After war had killed the Chosen and had Ulfane reforged the Armageddon Blade, he finally confronted Abaddon. The demon tried to persuade War to join his army but engaged the Horseman in battle in his draconic form when he refused. In the first phase, the Destroyer is in dragon form. It is preferable to mount Ruin for better survival chances. As the Destroyer charges around the arena, position yourself so that you're jousting him head on. Shortly before you collide, one of his arms will begin to glow. If you pass on the glowing side, he will strike you. Instead, pass by the other side and stab at his legs, tripping him. Turn around quickly and dismount the Slasher's weak spots as much time as you can before he gets up, then rinse and repeat the process. Sometimes he will fly off screen and become untargetable, and after a short delay, he will roar and crash into the ground. When you hear the roar, activate Ruin's boost to dodge. Eventually, you should be able to see the finishing move icon, and once you press the finishing move button, Wall will jump on his back and the destroyer will fly high into the air. When the icon comes up, press the allocate button repeatedly to end the first stage. Then, the destroyer will turn into a black winged version of his former self. In the battle, it's a simple hack and slash, however there are obstacles. Abaddon will block most of your melee hits, so it's necessary to engage him immediately after he finishes an attack sequence. For some unknown reason, it's impossible to use Chaos Form during this phase of battle, as Abaddon will immediately break any attempt to use it. At times he will teleport into the air out of reach and levitate, or throwing huge rocks at you one by one. You must dodge these quickly, and then he will charge at you. Fortunately, most of his melee attacks are able to be countered, which staggers Abaddon and alleviates the problem of Wall having his attacks blocked. Timed correctly, block counters can take down Abaddon remarkably quickly, and throughout the fight there will be times where Wall and Abaddon will blade lock after a short fencing animation, during which you must press the allocated button repeatedly and quickly. After this has been repeated 3 times, the final blade lock will result in Wall disarming and wounding Abaddon, after which he'll rip off his wings and impale him on the Armageddon blade. Now this battle is rather thrilling, although Abaddon's dragon roars tend to get annoying. The inability to use Chaos Form is a bit of a letdown, but at least it's fun. And the music is just amazing. I highly recommend this game for both gameplay and deep story. Black Tier Monster and Diviculus from Brutal Legend. The Black Tier Monster is a titanic creature summoned by Emperor Diviculus during the final mission, Abomination Overdrive. Diviculus creates the Black Tier Monster by playing a solo on his personal guitar, the quadruple-necked Hydra. In battle, the player must command the Iron Head units to attack the 2 side heads, and once the head sustains enough damage, it will collapse. To destroy it, the player must summon the Deuce and drive it into the eye. All the while, the main head will shoot giant syringes into the battlefield, allowing low-level tainted core units to spawn, such as Battle Nuns, Soul Kissers, and Punishing Parties. After one head falls, the core units will begin spawning higher tiers, such as Warfathers, Skull Rakers, and Hate Cages. And because they spawn relatively quickly, if you don't act quickly enough to destroy both heads, your core will overwhelm your mega stage and Diviculus will rip your eyes out to wear as a necklace. I'm not joking, he says that. I find that the best working strategy, especially on brutal difficulty, is to create a group of 2 headbangers, 2 razor girls and a thunderhog, and help them secure your fanbase. Once you fill all the merch booths you can, create more headbangers and razor girls as well as thunderhogs, and send everybody out to attack one of the heads. Personally, I prefer making 1 thunderhog for every 3 headbangers and razor girls. Once you've maxed out your load, then order units to attack one of the heads. Summon the Deuce at the entrance to the tunnel that corresponds with that head you've sent your army to attack. And once it falls, drive the Deuce up and hit the Nitro just before you reach the end. After the short cutscene that follows, send your army to attack the other head, train as many squads as you can to replace any that have been lost, and get them to attack. Soon enough, it will fall and you can drive into the eye. I recommend taking out the eye with the longer path up to it first. I think it's the right, but I'm not completely sure about that. But given that the enemy's force is relatively weak initially, you won't have to waste time driving up to the second one while the Skull Rakers are marching on your mega stage. Bloody annoying. This battle is all about the early rush and getting in your good hits before the enemy's forces are built up enough to be able to push you back. Once both heads are destroyed, the main head will begin to collapse. And you must drive the Deuce into the eye of the beast, and the final battle will begin against Diviculus. He will be armed with his double staff axe, and he will quickly rush in for the attack. Lock on and try to get first blood. If he goes to use a charged melee attack, quickly dodge back once he hits the ground, dart back forth with your own heavy strike. After it takes a few hits, Diviculus will chain himself to the wall and summon druids and battle nuns to assist him. Use the Faust Smelter solo to quickly kill off the druids and hopefully the nun. If not, use a combo attack to finish it off. then use Clementine's shocker and pyro attacks to knock down the chains. If you're feeling really cocky, when Diviculus starts chaining himself up, use the Bring It On Home solo that will definitely obliterate everything, maybe even Diviculus if you're lucky. Once you've finished off Diviculus' minions, use Clementine's shocker and pyro attacks to knock down the chains. Repeat several times and bleeding deaths will begin clawing at you through the windows. Don't get too close or it'll knock off a good chunk of your health. Once you've weakened Diviculus enough, he will stand still in a daze. Hit him with your axe and you'll cut off his head, finishing the battle. Now, what makes this battle so great? First off, a number of metal songs played during the first battle, especially Progenies of the Great Apocalypse by Dimmu Borgir. Seriously, after beating this game, I downloaded the song just so I can listen to it wherever I want. After you fight Diviculus in the belly of the beast, Judas Priest's Painkiller plays on an endless loop. Now this fits the frantic struggle to stay alive. Luckily there's a checkpoint once you start the battle with him. Secondly, gameplay perfectly fits the game mechanics of Brutal Legend. You have to strategize quickly in order to take out the black tier monster. And the design for this monster is really epic, no wonder I have it in my intro video. Death. Shikon the Forever Man. Shikon the Forever Man was mostly known for his immortality, sheer strength, and damnation. Master of martial arts, dual-wielding swords, and alchemy, he was a very powerful warrior. However, everybody feared him so much that they summoned Death to take him to hell. However, Death decided to make a wager with Shikon, where if he won in a duel against Death, then he would become immortal. But if Death won, then Shikon's soul was his to play with forever. The two fought for days, and Shikon eventually won, but Death's wager had a twist. Shikon's face was twisted into the image of Death itself, and he'll wander the earth in agony, haunted by the pain of evil's victims, until all of evil had been destroyed. Shikon sought out the four portals of the terrestrial and elemental planes so that he could slay the inhuman royalty of supernatural darkness, and he did so for 20 torturous lifetimes, just so he could have the sweet release of death. He slew all of evil's most ferocious leaders, and many years later, he thought he had finished, only to find out that he still bore his immortal curse. Death greeted him and told him that not all evil had been destroyed, for there were many countless stars above, each surrounded with worlds thick with supernatural evil. Since the stars were so far away, Shikon was stuck, without a way to reach them. With that in mind, Shikon fought Death one last time, and while he seemed victorious, the outcome and aftermath is left uncertain. As seen in the video, Death is surprisingly easy to beat, you just need to strike at the laser firing skull until it's destroyed. This game is a nostalgic final boss, and the music's rapid pace well fits Shikon's desperation. If you can find any way to play this game, I highly recommend it for the challenge. This game is essentially the Dark Souls of the 20th century. Sudden death is only a mistake away. Diablo. Diablo 2 and 3. Diablo, the Lord of Terror, is the namesake of games in which he appears. The youngest of the three prime evils, he and his brothers plot to rule heaven, hell, and the world of Sanctuary. In the first Diablo game, after he is destroyed, Diablo forces Aiden, the warrior class of the game, to plunge the demon soulstone into his forehead, allowing Diablo's spirit to possess Aiden and turn him into the Dark Wanderer. This begins the events of Diablo 2. Diablo sets out to free his two brothers, Mephisto and Baal, and he succeeds. Mephisto and Baal allow Diablo to enter the Chaos Sanctuary in order to initiate the demonic assault, but the game's protagonists, the 5 or 7 in the expansion pack, warriors enter hell to confront him. After reaching the Chaos Sanctuary, the players must locate and open 5 seals, 3 of which will spawn Diablo's generals, the Grand Vizier of Chaos, Lord des Seers, and the Infector of Souls. After all seals are opened and all 3 bosses are dead along with their minions, then the Chaos Sanctuary will begin to shake as Diablo appears in the direct middle, taunting that not even death can save you from him. In this battle, Diablo has a range of powerful spells and abilities which include casting a ring of fire that spreads across the battlefield, conjuring a massive fire in the area around the player, spreading streams of fire across the battlefield, slowing the player with a cold touch, charging into players, trapping in the player in a wall of bone spikes, and his all-time killer, Red Lightning Homes, which will kill the player if they're caught in it. Fire and especially lightning resistance will be essential to surviving Diablo's attacks. It's also important to stay at distance and keep moving to avoid being cornered. Use stamina potions to allow you to keep running and heal non-stop. And if you're trapped in a bone prison, you'll most likely follow up with red lightning hose, so attack the cage to destroy it and start running. Open a town portal near one of the seals, so that if you run out of potions or die, you can go back and stock up. Maybe even buy a better weapon or ammunition if you're using ranged weapons. The reason why you should open a portal at the seals is so that Diablo cannot follow you to the seals. And if you open a portal in the inner seal where he is, he's going to cast a bone prison around it, preventing you from escaping. Now, in order to beat Diablo, you just need to keep attacking and attacking and attacking non-stop using guerrilla tactics. But if you own a very, very early version of the game, Diablo is vulnerable to the Necromancer's Iron Maiden curse, which reflects damage like the Paladin's Fawn aura. Combined with powerful Fire Golem to absorb half of Diablo's damage, it will kill Diablo in about a minute. The devs did patch this out early, so yeah, he's actually hard now. And in the expansion they made him even more difficult on normal difficulty. Either way, just keep draining Diablo's hit points and you'll eventually kill him. Now in Diablo 3, the final battle takes place atop the crystal arch of the high heavens after fighting your way through the silver spire to reach the pinnacle of heaven at the end of Act 4. With all 7 evils embodied in him, he's not an easy fight. Your followers cannot go with you to fight against him, so you're going to have to prepare yourself accordingly. The battle consists of 3 phases. In the first battle, Diablo has slow speed but high damage, and there are healing wells on either side of the arena. Diablo will throw fireballs that explode into pools of fire, teleport, and use Fire Circle, Firewall and Bone Prison from his Diablo 2 incarnation. Just outrun these attacks, especially the Bone Prisons, and you'll be fine. Possibly bring some protection against fire just in case you get hit. Once you drop him to about 65% life, whatever, he'll take you to the Realm of Terror, basically an evil alternate dimension without healing wells. Here Diablo's Shadow will fight you using the exact same tactics as last time, but every now and again he's going to disappear and summon a shadow clone of each player that will use your abilities against you. It's advised to kill these clones quickly as they'll drop a guaranteed health globe, so if you don't have any potions, this is the only way you're going to stay alive, unless you have very good life steal. Whether or not the clone dies, after 30 seconds Shadow Diablo will return. Just keep draining his hit points and you'll eventually move on to the final phase. After you destroy Shadow Diablo, you'll return to the real world and Diablo will heal back to 65%. He will begin attacking more aggressively and he will move a lot faster. And on top of that, he gains 3 new abilities. A dash that is impossible to outrun, Red Lightning Hose from Diablo 2, which is pretty much the same as it deals fire and lightning damage, and Prime Evil's Curse. He'll put a curse on you for 6 seconds. These are various debuffs based on the 7 evils, and I can't explain too much on what each curse is, but they are pretty bad. Continue whittling away at his health and avoiding his attacks until his life bar is down to 5%, at which point the objective Destroy Diablo appears. At this point the battle is won, just hit him with anything you wish, the goal is to bring him to 1%. Then stand and watch. After some time Diablo's body will explode and his corpse collapses to the ground. After a short cutscene, the fight is over. These 2 battles are both extremely long and hard, especially on hard mode. And while Diablo 2's version is one of my first final battles ever, or before the expansion, winning it a point in the nostalgia department, Diablo 3's fight is more well played out in mechanics as well as having good music. Either way, they are both really good in my opinion. Warning: this boss battle has a lot of mature content. Skip ahead to this time if you are under the age of 15 or are sensitive to adult themes. You have been warned. The Dollmaker from Alice Madness Returns. The Dollmaker was the Wonderland incarnation of Dr. Angus Bumby, He was the mastermind behind the Infernal Train and Wonderland's corruption. Dollmaker attempted to eliminate Alice countless times by sending his ruin to kill her, but she managed to succeed in reaching the dollhouse, where he unleashed his army of killer dolls. But they too were unable to stop Alice, and she finally reached his lair. As she marches upon the Dollmaker in Wonderland, in the real world she confronts Dr. Bumby, who explains that he has been brainwashing children and selling them off as sex slaves. Yeah, and he hoped to get a really good price for Alice, but she had been resisting his brainwashing efforts for a good long while. It's also revealed that Dr. Bumby was the person who burned Alice's family alive in a house fire, as he had been infatuated with Alice's sister Lizzie, but because she refused his advances, he killed the whole family, and this set the events of the first game, before Madness returns. It seems as though the Dollmaker's form is not suited for combat purposes. His attacks revolve around swiping and clawing at Alice with his bare hands, but his hands are the weak points. In order to damage the Dollmaker, you need to attack the doll faces on his hands with the pepper grinder until he grabs onto the two pillars and sticks out his tongue. At which point, pull out the teapot cannon and blast away. After a few hits to the tongue, the Dollmaker will be destroyed, and in the real world, Alice will push the real Dr. Bumby in front of an oncoming train to kill him. By doing so, she avenges her family and the children victimized by Dr. Bumby, ensuring that he can never hurt anybody again. Now, this boss is the main, if not only, reason I put a warning at the start of this video. America McGee's spin on the traditional Alice in Wonderland is extremely dark and full of shocking symbolism. If anybody out there has a taste in anything dark and macabre, then I recommend this game. I don't know about the original, I've never played it, but it supposedly has more to offer in the form of boss battles, so it might be a bit more fun than facing a slightly tougher enemy after each hour of the game. But the art style is very good for this boss and the game in general, and the Dollmaker's design is very creative. I'm not going to go too much into the detail on his symbolism, most of which I didn't even realise until I watched Miss Game Craze's top 11 disturbing bosses list, and she elaborates it a lot better than I can bring myself to do. Also, the Dollmaker's entry on the Alice Wiki has a bit more detail that involves the mysterious deep web, among other things. So if you really want to know the sick symbolism that went into creating this boss, go check it out for yourself. To sum up, good design, dark, haunting battle music, very symbolic, great if easy final boss. Metal Gear Excelsis and Senator Armstrong. Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. US Senator Stephen Armstrong greatly expressed a desire to remake America's position as the most powerful nation in the world and reclaim the American dream, implying that he wanted to bring about another revolution and compare himself to the true Sons of Liberty. To do so, he used a private military company, Desperado, to initiate a false war on terrorism, so that he could incite America to become a nation that fights only for what it believes in, and where the law changes to suit the needs of the people, not the other way around. In Pakistan, he deployed Metal Gear Excelsis to begin his great and terrible war, and this is where the battle takes place. When the battle with Excelsis begins, the player must dodge Excelsis' arms and attack its front legs. Once your leg is damaged enough, a quick time event will occur where Raiden uses blade mode on the leg in two separate places, utterly destroying it. Occasionally geckos will jump onto the battlefield and assist Excelsis while it fires plasma cannons at you. However, the geckos are easily place them in firing line, and they drop nanopaste, which are essential to staying alive if you suck at parrying and dodging like I am. Once both legs are destroyed, Raiden uses Metal Gear's own arm to blade mode Excelsis to death. Then Senator Armstrong jumps out and absorbs nanomachines from the remains of Excelsis so that he can fight Raiden mano a mano. In the midst of battle, Armstrong snaps Raiden's sword, and after Raiden pummels Armstrong with his bare hands in another quick time event, Blade Wolf enters the field and delivers Jetstream Sam's sword to Raiden, which makes the perfect weapon to face Armstrong in the final duel. In this battle, Armstrong will punch the ground and cause fire to erupt, creating a damage trap to keep you in place just so he can sucker punch you from across the battlefield. While Sam's sword deals very little damage to his nanomachine protected body, dealing only 10% more damage than Raiden's sword, a lot of quick time events occur that allow Raiden to deal critical damage if he is successful. Occasionally, Armstrong will jump out of the rubble and throw parts of its cells at Raiden. Use blade mode to cut down the flying debris before it hits Raiden, and it will drop a nano paste, which will keep you alive if Armstrong's hits are taking a toll. Also, a lot of Armstrong's quick time events will knock Sam's sword out of Raiden's hand, and Raiden must recover the blade in the heat of battle, but at least it gives off a glow so it's easy to locate. Once Armstrong's hit points have been depleted to 0.1%, a series of quick time events will follow after, including forcing Raiden to blade mode incoming attacks until he Zundatsus Armstrong's heart. Then the battle ends. This battle is very, very lengthy, taking over an hour to complete without dying even on easy difficulty. But the mechanics are well designed to keep you occupied and involved in the battle, meaning you're not just standing there smacking the attack button. You've actually got to think 2 moves ahead to avoid getting hit. And I don't know why they thought it was a good idea to make it an unlockable achievement to beat this guy on Revengeance difficulty without taking any damage. I got wiped out 10 times in a row on my first playthrough and that was on normal. Then again, I suck at parrying. Also, then again, the sheer difficulty makes this an excellent challenge that you definitely won't breeze through. Another mention is the music. Every major battle in MGRR has a theme that symbolises the battle. The battle with Excelsis features the song Collective Consciousness, which is about how the general population of the world is easily controlled by politics and the media, and how nobody is truly free because of how easily they can be controlled. The Battle of Armstrong features the song It Has to Be This Way, which lyrically symbolises how both Raiden and Armstrong are the same people inside. If it all boils down to one thing, both Raiden and Armstrong are just 2 men who are fighting for what they believe is right. This kind of symbolism is perfect. And despite the fact I'm not really placing a shiny gold medal on any one boss battle, this game's final battle is without a doubt among the best of the best in this list. I highly recommend this game, not for its difficult gameplay, but for the story behind it. The Firstborn, from Clive Barker's Jericho. The Firstborn was created by God before Adam and Eve, a creature neither male nor female, both beautiful and terrible to behold. It was so powerful that God could not destroy it, so he banished it to a pocket dimension known as the Pixis. The Firstborn has tried 6 times to break into our universe, and each time the Department of Occult Warfare has sent a group of mystics to sacrifice themselves and seal the breach. However, the Firstborn does not desire freedom. It only wants what makes mankind what it is. It is said by a character in the game that freedom is the absence of chains, just as evil is the absence of love, meaning that all of the Firstborn's attempts is merely to get back at God for abandoning it. When the 7th generation Jericho squad ventured into the Pixis to seal the Firstborn, it was revealed that they would have to be sacrificed. Instead, the team broke into the Pixis Primer, where the Firstborn's inner sanctum rested. In attempt to destroy it, the Firstborn greeted Jericho's squad and killed off Cole and Jones in an unceremonious explosion of blood and gore, just before they reveal intent on its weaknesses. Then the battle begins. Conventional weapons have no effect on the Firstborn, so pummeling bullet after bullet is not going to kill it. Instead, the Firstborn will possess each of the remaining Jericho squad and use their powers to attack the party. It will use Black's abilities to push the party around with pyrokinesis, Rawling's abilities to curse the party and drain their life force, Delgado's abilities to summon a fire spirit to attack them, and finally Church's abilities to create a blood ward and paralyze the party. The only way to fight back is to manually take control of the character possessed by the Firstborn and turn its magic against it by casting the player's own spells. After it's paralysed by Church's blood ward, the Firstborn will be weakened and Church will go in for the kill. However, Leech, who has been working for the Firstborn for the whole game, claims that he will finish it once and for all. when he takes the Firstborn and flies into the blinding light. Then the cave begins to collapse and Jericho's squad dives for safety. While this battle is rather short, the gameplay mechanics are rather bestowed upon you rather than letting you figure out what to do. So it's pretty easy. The entire game's concept is rather unique, and it has become such a cult classic that many people are still petitioning to create a sequel as to unexplain the unexplained fate of the squad. This game is chock full of gore, but unless you have an issue with entire levels consisting of a world where the blood is made of flesh with rivers of blood flowing around anywhere, then I would recommend it. Hydra King, God of War. The Hydra King is the dominant central head that controls the smaller heads around it. If it falls, the entire beast will die with it. So as the game's main narrative begins, Kratos has been assigned by Poseidon, god of the sea, to kill the beast, which has been challenging his sovereignty by destroying ships and killing sailors. It can be seen attacking Kratos' fleet as they approach Athens. Kratos first battles one of the Hydra's lesser heads while it smashes through the side of his ship below the deck. Kratos manages to seriously wound it by stabbing it in the eye and smashing around with his blades. Another head is seen above deck, attacking another ship alongside a flock of harpies, and after devouring a few sailors, smashes through the ship and starts attacking Kratos, who manages to kill it. Kratos' final encounter with the Hydra occurs on another ship's deck, where he battles the Hydra King and two of its lesser heads. He finally kills the beast by driving the ship's mast through the main head. This battle is lengthy and somewhat annoying. After weakening the smaller heads and dropping parts of the ship to pin them down, the main head poses a large threat by biting and howling at Kratos. The howl will in fact throw him off the mast, forcing the player to slowly climb back up just to get some more hits into the Hydra King. However, this battle is important as it sets the scene for the entire God of War franchise, as it's the player's first ever boss, and for a monster, it's truly monstrous. Lord Darcy Burrows, Clock Tower 3. Lord Burrows was a titanic landowner in the 17th century, owning most of southeast England. The husband of Natalia, he wanted to be one with his beloved daughter Annabelle, and to inherit the almighty powers of the entities when he was 50 years old. However, his daughter died before her 15th birthday in a carriage crash. In his grief and anger, he slaughtered most of the people of his lands, even his wife, collecting a total of 115 victims and being sentenced to 2,280 years in prison. He eventually died, crushed between the clock tower's cogs, or escaping mobs of angry farmers who rebelled against him after a long time. His dark soul came to possess Dick Hamilton, Liz's grandfather, which set the game's events in place. Lord Burrows is a tricky boss. He will slash at you with a sword and launch energy projectiles that will immobilize Alyssa in counterpart to her ability to immobilize him. If he gets enough energy changed on Alyssa, he can use a one-hit kill move on her, which Salazar couldn't find footage for. But if memory serves me, as it was a long time ago, he makes a face appear in the clouds and it vomits blood on Alyssa, which kills her. If fought in hard mode, Lord Burrows' sword will be upgraded, and the attacks he will do will replace the normal ones. If he launches an attack with purple balls of energy, he will launch 3 instead of 1. He can also grab Alyssa with his bare hands, transferring her health over to his, and thus will gain more power, launching 5 bolts instead of 3. He will also walk faster. This battle will no doubt test your skills in attacking and dodging simultaneously, avoiding getting immobilized by Lord Burrows, but it is a decent challenge, especially on hard mode. Melbu Frama, Legend of Dragoon. After trapping the soul of the god of destruction and trying to engage in all-out war for dominance over the world, Melbu Frama was defeated in battle by the 7 legendary dragoons. However, as he lay dying, he implanted his soul into the dragoon spirit of the man who stabbed him in the heart, Z, who was magically petrified by Melbu's powers at the same time. 11,000 years later, Zeeg awoke, free from his spell, and after finding a home and a family, the black monster attacked his home village. When Zeeg went to confront the beast with his dragoon powers, Melbu's soul possessed him, and after a series of events began Assyrian war in order to reclaim the power he desired. Flash forward to the end of the game, and after defeating the brainwashed Zeke and unlocking the power of the Divine Dragoon, Dart and his friends confront Melbu as he becomes the embodiment of the Virage embryo. The battle with Melbu goes through 4 phases, with each successive form he takes, his powers and abilities will change. In his first form, Melbu will cast powerful elemental spells on the party, summon Virages to attack them, and he can even petrify a party member while he defends against attacks. In his second form, he can cast energy whips, suck characters into a black hole, and shoot them back out at the party. In his third form, he can launch energy beams, block characters from using certain commands, and use the Dragon Block staff to weaken the player's dragoons. In his final form, he can use a number of powerful spells, confuse party members, and replace them with shadow clones. All in all, this is another nostalgic final boss. I love the Legend of Dragoon from a young age because of how original the gameplay design was, in which you have to use quick time events to deal the most damage to the enemy. And yeah, I really love Final Fantasy games, and so this game is really appealing to me. I would recommend this classic of a game. The Moon Lord, Terraria. The Moon Lord is, according to the devs, the brother of Cthulhu, set on destroying the world. He spawns after killing the lunatic cultist at the dungeon and destroying the 4 celestial pillars afterward. Each hand, as well as its head, contains a vulnerable target in the form of an eye, which periodically blinks to invoke temporary invincibility. Once all 3 parts are killed, then the core opens. Once the core is destroyed, the boss is defeated. The Moon Lord has an array of moves and attacks which involve teleporting the player should they run too far away, firing a phantasmal death ray from the head, which is its most powerful attack, spawning a phantasmal sphere. Phantasmal spheres charge out the player to deal melee damage, firing phantasmal bolts from its eyes, firing explosive homing phantasmal eye projectile, spawning a true Eye of Cthulhu after each eye target is killed, which shoot lasers and ice beams at the player, spawning thorns in the hands after the eyes have been killed to allow damage on contact, and biting the player with a tentacle-like tongue, spawning moonleech clots. These clots can be killed by the player, and if not, they'll restore 1,000 hit points for a body part not yet destroyed. The tentacle also inflicts the Moonbite debuff, which prevents healing and life-stealing effects for about 15 seconds. While there are many ways on defeating the Moon Lord, my method is to build a sky bridge high above the world in outer space, just for aesthetics, and place heart and star statues along the bridge connected to pressure plates, as well as having teleporters on either end, using ranged weapons to attack the Moon Lord from afar. You will keep getting healed by the heart statues while the star statues refill your mana, and once you hit the end you'll teleport to the other side. Constant movement makes it easier to evade the Moon Lord's attacks, and if you use the Unicorn mount, you'll move even faster. I know this because personally, my character is supposed to be a magic class Death Knight / Apocalypse Horseman. I'll find a way to bring up Terraria in a future video so that I can show you exactly what I mean. If I can get my hands on some recording software, I can do some let's plays of Terraria and fight the Moon Lord myself. But it's hard finding a free high quality recording program, and it's the same reason why I'm not doing my own gameplay videos. Can't find a cheap but high quality recording device for my consoles. If anybody can help me out with that, I would really appreciate it. Leave a comment below for where to find some good programs and or recording devices. Now from South Park, The Stick of Truth. This next entry is...
Nazi zombie Princess Kitty!
After defeating Craig and reclaiming the Stick of Truth, King Douchebag and his party are attacked by the government, who plan on using the Dragonborn's powers to make friends really quickly to control the entire world. Even though the Dragonborn refuses the government's offers to let him rule the world with the Stick of Truth, Princess Kenny takes the offer and flees. The others corner her at the top of Clyde's castle and she attacks the party, but after she is quickly defeated she drinks alien Nazi zombie goo and transforms into a Nazi zombie. Cartman decides to stay off the battle for now, but if it takes too long embedding Princess Kenny, She will use a special move that requires a quick time event. If you succeed, your buddy prevents Kenny from successfully using her move and they will leave battle. If Butters is in your party, Kenny will summon Nazi Zombie Death. Butters will run away, only to transform into Professor Chaos and return. His quick time event involves charging up a spell to blast Death away. Then he will leave while complaining that he is dizzy from using too much Chaos energy. If Stan is your buddy, Kenny will summon a Nazi Zombie Unicorn. Stan's quick time event involves smashing a certain button so that he can decapitate the unicorn. Sparky will then drag away the severed head and Stan will chase after him, only to return of complaining his sword arm getting tired. If Kyle is your buddy, Kenny will try to drink more alien Nazi zombie goo, and Kyle will kick his brother Ike into Kenny, causing her to drop the goo. Ike will then cry and run away, and Kyle will chase after him. Kyle will then return, complaining of having sprained his ankle. If Jimmy is your buddy, Kenny will summon a swarm of Nazi zombie furry friends. Jimmy will play his flute to charm the rats and lead them away, then he will return complaining that he needs to catch his breath. After all four buddies leave battle, Cartman will reluctantly join the party. After you defeat Princess Kenny 3 times in a row, or defeat her after Cartman joins the battle, the party plans for the player to break the gentleman's oath and fart on Princess Kenny's balls. Yeah. Cartman will grab Kenny from behind, allowing the player to make their move, and if the Dragon Board fails to use a fart move, Kenny will kill Cartman and the player will receive a game over. Now, if you want to kill Princess Kenny as quickly as possible, bring the sweet katana weapon, arguably the most powerful in the game, and equip whatever you want on it to make it more powerful. Personally, I prefer getting that extra hit. When battle begins, just spam normal attacks over and over to drain Kenny's health. But if you want to use the slow approach and use everybody against Princess Kenny, use spells and a weak ranged weapon to make the battle last until Cartman comes in. Then hit as fast as you can with the katana. Regardless, if you want to go out with a bang, use the Nagasaki fart to end it all. This battle is excellent mostly due to the sheer creativity and humorous nature, especially Kenny's first phase, which has an upbeat Japanese song playing, which will condemn me if I were to put it in this video. Go look it up if you want your ears and brain to bleed worse in a mosh pit in a Slayer concert. At least the second phase's music is a lot better and it fits in well with any fantasy themed final boss because it gives off a sense of intimidation and urgency. And if I remember correctly, the song also plays during the battle with Shelly. Go figure. Ram, Gears of War. Military leader of the Locust Horde, General Ram was stronger and smarter than any elite unit ever. He led the war against the humans since E-Day, and since then made his name one to be feared. On a battlefield, Ram uses a number of weapons such as a Boltok pistol, portable troika cannons, and the serrated sword which he uses to execute cog leaders he captures in combat. On top of that all, Ram has control over the carnivorous krill, commanding them to act as a shield for himself, as well as being able to use grenades that launch krill upon unsuspecting victims. When Marcus and Dom face Ram at the very end of the game, Ram wastes no time in opening fire on the pair. This battle is surprisingly short, and on insane difficulty every shot must count. Stay in the light, otherwise the crew will hunt you down, and when Ram gets close, blind throw several grenades at his feet to severely damage him. If possible, bring along a long shot sniper and a torque bow, and several well placed headshots will take him out pretty quickly. Just make sure only to attack when his cruel shield is down. This battle is quick, challenging, and overall very exciting. The sheer pressure of making sure you don't miss and stay away from darkness where the crew can get you. Also, this is another one of my first final bosses in my gaming career, so nostalgia for the win. Raymond Salazar, Resident Evil 4. Salazar lived alone with his butler, and Osmond Settler decided to induct him into the Los Illuminados cult, giving him control over the Las Plagas and the Ganado army, with which Settler plans to take over the world. His first act will be to use American President's daughter and infect her with the parasite before shipping her back to the US as a sleeper agent. But Agent Leon Kennedy intervened and rescued Ashley, only for her to get kidnapped again. After being toyed with for Salazar's amusement, Leon reaches him and prepares to kill him after Salazar reveals his intentions for Ashley, but then the Queen Plaga devours Salazar and his Verdugo bodyguard and mutates them into a plant-like creature. When the battle starts, there is a large head, Verdugo's, which will attempt to eat Leon while he is standing on the platform above. If it manages to bite him, an instant death occurs. On either side of the room are two large tentacles which will swat at Leon if he strays too close, but they can be shot at. The main goal here is to shoot Verdugo in the eye, which will force its neck to open and reveal Salazar, who is fused to the neck and protected by a shield of leaf-like growths around him. During this time, Verdugo will become lifeless, and the player must shoot Salazar before he hides again. Should the player run out of ammo, there are bullets stored in the barrels on the bottom floor, but they are guarded by Plague's parasites that will chip away at Leon's health as they swarm him, and they keep spawning relentlessly. After planting enough bullets in the Salazar, the Mind Dart Thrower and Sniper Rifle are most effective choices by the way, he will die, taking the Queen Plaga with him. While this battle has very little to offer, the music is rather intense, and the threat of instant death from Verdugo's bite attack will keep you on your toes. While I'm not a colossal fan of Resident Evil, quick, intense battles such as this are my favourite kinds. Satan, Saints Row, Get Out of Hell. In Get Out of Hell, Satan kidnaps the boss that you've been using for the last 4 games and plans to wed them to his daughter Jezebel. However, Johnny Gat dives into hell to save them, accompanied by Kinsey Kensington, only because it's her birthday. After raising hell, Satan instead decides to wed Jezebel to Gat. However, Gat and Kinsey crash the wedding and prepare to shoot the devil in the face. The battle with the devil begins with you firing off every round you can while Satan teleports around the battlefield, throwing fireballs at you. He will occasionally summon reinforcements, grab you from across the arena and take out a chunk of your life bar with an explosion, and even summon clones of himself to confuse you. Just keep shooting and you'll eventually weaken him. He'll teleport to his friend and you can deliver the finishing blow in a nice satisfying punch. So there you have it. My personal top 15 boss battles. Now I really wanted to put Final Fantasy, Devil May Cry and Silent Hill enemies on this list, but I just can't decide who was my favourite out of everything in those 3 franchises because they're my all-time top 3 favourites. So instead, in future lists, I will cover top 10 Devil May Cry bosses, top 20 Silent Hill monsters, and a pair of videos dedicated to Final Fantasy final bosses and super bosses. I'm Necroarcanist XIII in association with Bandit1569, signing off. Stay classy, YouTube.